Hey, babe, I'm going to take you out to the beach.
Let's go to the beach and get some sand on our feet.
We're not going to Florida this time.
No, there's another beach other than Florida?
No, we're going to take you to a place as the smallest state park in this state.
A little itty-bitty baby park.
Itty-bitty. And also, back in the roaring 20s, it was a very popular place where Al Capone, President Eisenhower, and a lot of famous people visited this yacht club.
Really? That's interesting, actually.
Where are we taking everybody to?
We are going to South Padre Island, Texas.
Put your seatbelt on.
Here we go.
Did you know that 46 million Americans plan to take an RV trip in the next 12 months? 90% of recreational vehicle owners take 3 or more mini vacations every year. Welcome to the RV Destinations Podcast. If it's RV travel, we're talking about it. From campgrounds to museums to national and state parks, kayaking and hiking opportunities. One of the most fun and pleasurable things you can do is just hit the road. So be ready to be inspired. Welcome in to the RV Destinations Podcast. Now your host, President Randy Beheimer and Editor-in-Chief, Caly Beheimer.
Good morning, everybody. Here we are. We're in the very chilly morning here in Columbia Falls, Montana.
53 degrees,
53
53
degrees.
degrees.
Well, and today we're not talking about Columbia Falls, Montana, but we are going to be talking about a very warm place that's probably in the 80s right now.
Probably. South Padre Island, Tejas.
Yep. We've got a guest on the show today. You want to introduce our guest?
Yes, I can actually see Carrie today. I'm super excited. So I'm looking this way because the computer's that way. And there's Carrie. Hi, Carrie.
Yeah.
So we've got Carrie Hanrahan with us. And if you've listened to our podcast, you know that Carrie is one of our regulars and has been on the podcast quite often, and one of our writers, amazing writer, amazing photographer. She does a lot of top 10s for us and a lot of articles for us. So we are just blessed to have Carrie as part of our team. So thank you, Carrie.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here again. As I say, always fun talking about, places that are warmer than we both are, I think.
Exactly. And we were talking offline about just the weather here in Columbia Falls, Montana. We are mid-September and it is it's insane. The weather's been all over the place. It's like sunny, it's cold, it's raining, it's not raining, it's cloudy, it's sunny, it's cold.
It doesn't sound like a lot of fun on certain days.
Exactly.
You know when it's sunny and slightly warm, it's so beautiful here. It's beautiful here.
It's beautiful,
regardless. Yeah. I shouldn't say that, but you can at least get out and function and not be, freezing your tail off. But,
yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway, and we're actually here. You're probably looking at our background, and everybody's thinking, "Why aren't you in your rig? You sold your home."
There's the RV right there. I'm making a circle around it. Ooh,
yeah, so
right
we're staying at Columbia Falls RV Park. I want to give them a little shout out because they're allowing us to use this loft room. This is one of their cabins, I guess, that they rent out frequently here, and we're in it. They've allowed us to use it to record a few podcasts, so we want to thank them for that. But anyway, so let's jump on into Texas. So South Padre, we've been there a couple times, and the one time we were there was over New Year's, and it
was 2020 to 2021.
That's right, 2020, 2021. Okay. And it was
it was very blowy.
It was a very, very windy experience.
Very blowy.
We were there for 28 days and decided to cut 2 days short of our 1 month stay.
Yep.
Because we just got tired of the wind.
It got a little blow. So, in all fairness, South Padre, and you've experienced this too as well there, Carrie, because you've gone to South Padre quite a few times. Didn't you have family that lived there or near there and you would vacation there? Okay.
Yep, my mom used to live down in that area. So, I spent a good amount of time down on the island.
Okay. So,
and we don't want to start off with a negative thing because South Padre is such a cool place, but we've got to address
a heads up. Right. It gets a little blowy.
We've got to address the fact that the whole Texas coast gets a lot of wind from Galveston, Port Aransas, all the way down to South Padre. It's the kite capital of the world. So people come all over the world to do, I guess, professional kite flying.
Fly your kite.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a pro, go fly a kite.
Right. And so, again, this is much like Outer Banks. You need a lot of wind to fly your kites.
Right.
And so kind of expect that going there, because we've been there. We thought maybe it was a winter thing, but then we went there in the summer and it was just about as blowy. Now we were in Port Aransas when we went there in the summer, which is
It's like
just
north.
a little bit north of South Padre, and we still had quite a bit of wind. But anyway, do you see that? Is that a fair assessment, Carrie? Because I know you're a little bit more familiar with the area. Is the wind kind of a constant thing year round?
Yeah, it really is. You learn to deal with it in the sense of, depending when you're on the beach and stuff, wear some eye protection from the same kind of stuff. But speaking of, it is a kite surfing capital area. I mean, people go there purposely because of those nice warm winds that come in off the ocean, and kite surfing is very popular there. So it's a fun thing, if you don't do it, to be on the beach and watch people going down the beach with the kite surfing. So
yeah, and we're going to present enough evidence today to show you that South Padre is definitely worth taking your RV to. There's a lot of cool things. You can take your cars out on the beach. There's a lot of, Texas is a very car on the beach friendly state, and we love that about Texas. That's one of our favorite things about Texas beaches. And we'll jump into all that. But so there's a lot to cover, and I think by the time we're done with the show today, if you stick around and listen to all the things we're going to talk about, that you're going to be like, hey, let's take
we
the
should
family
go there
to South Texas.
And if nothing else, you should go to see all the pelicans. I was fascinated with the pelicans, and then the winds would come in, and then they'd have like people helping the pelicans because they had a hard time flying. So it was kind of neat to see, the pelicans.
Well, you want to jump into some fun facts?
Yes, let's do fun facts.
And I'm getting this off of Swim Swam. It was apparently I guess they did a lot of the water sports for the 2024 Olympics there in South Padre.
What? Like the Olympics had just happened. Are you sure you're on the right one?
No, it's Swim Swam.
Okay.
And this is...
well, what's it say?
In preparation for the upcoming South Padre Open Water Festival on November 5th to 6th, we wanted to share some key facts about the island and why it's one of the best open water destinations in the U.S.
Okay.
I don't know why it said... Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay.
2024 Olympics was actually...
Was it an ad?
No, it's actually a separate tab. I wasn't on that tab.
There's that.
Way to pay attention,
Details.
Anyway, okay, so starting number one, the Laguna Madre Bay is a saline, I always want to say saline bay, meaning the salt content is higher than the rest of the ocean. It's only one of 6 hypersaline bays in the world. This makes it extremely important for the Gulf of Mexico sea life, including dolphins and sea turtles, which migrate to Laguna Madre to hatch or raise their young. The only saltier body of water in the U.S. is the Great Salt Lake in Utah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Did you know this, Carrie? Look at me. I'm looking at you. Did you know this?
I knew it was saltwater, but I didn't know that it was the second to Salt Lake City area.
Hypersaline,
That is cool. Yeah. I wonder if we go back, if we can just like float better.
Well, and that's a fact. That's a fact. When I was in the Navy, I went to the Dead Sea in Israel, and it's like one of the most hypersaline in the world, I think. And I jumped in, and you cannot sink. I mean, you just can't sink. Now, I will tell you that I felt every single cut and scrape from my razor that morning. The minute I jumped in, it was like, and I'm rubbing my face. I'm like, But I just bought a brand new pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses on the base in Italy, and when I jumped in, I someone yelled at me, and I put my sunglasses kind of up on my head, and then when I got done talking, I put my head back, and they went bloop, right in the water, and I could see them because it's super clear because there's no bacteria in it, but I couldn't swim down. So I imagine that this bay is probably pretty similar to that.
Very interesting. We'll have to check it out.
Anyway, 2, a chance at gold and silver. South Padre Island is home to several shipwrecks. During the 1500s, Spain used South Padre Island to export resources from Mexico to Spain. The wreck of the 300 in 1554 lost millions of dollars in silver. Treasure hunters still flock to the area looking for this lost treasure. In Texas, guess what? You got to love Texas. you have to turn in any lost treasure over to the state.
Of course.
But of course, you get to keep your medal from the South Padre Open Water Festival. That's a little plug for their...
Here, I just found $5 million in silver. You get a cheap medal. Yay!
I am absolutely sure that everybody's good citizens would turn that over and not hide that stuff.
Never. We would never find that out there all of a sudden somewhere on the black market.
I don't think Florida requires you to turn it over. I just say, hey, I found this in Florida. A Spanish coin is a Spanish coin.
Exactly.
Right. All right. I'm going to skip over this one because it talks a lot about Indian names, and how I am.
Oh, you're so good with those. No, it's fine.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay,
it's fine.
do it.
Number 3 is it makes you stronger. The first residents of the island were the Karankawa Indians. I think that's pretty close. Local legend claims that they were taller and stronger than the average man. They protected their island with massive bows and large arrows that most men could not draw back.
Ooh, impressive.
Very, very cool. So number 4, the lighthouse lights the way.
Yes.
The Port Isabel Lighthouse sits in the smallest state park in Texas.
And I'm pointing because we're going to talk about this.
Okay. It's the smallest state park in Texas. However, unlike most lighthouses in the U.S., the lighthouse is open for the public to climb and enjoy, and we'll talk more about that in the top 10.
Good job, babe.
So the number 5 is the coast is well guarded and might actually even be haunted.
Again, we did a podcast recently about a haunted lake. How do you haunt water?
Oh, haunted.
I feel like if that is the premise, the entire world is haunted. Like, oh my gosh, that bathroom is haunted. Oh my gosh, that pond is haunted. Everything's haunted.
With Halloween coming up, it's interesting to note that there is an old Coast Guard station built here in 1924. Rumor has it that the ghost of an earlier station worker still haunts that old station, or maybe he still working to keep it safe. But seriously, there's a long tradition of Coast Guard support here. The Coast Guard keeps our events safe and our shores safe. It goes on to talk about the Open Water Festival, which I'm going to skip over. We have no interest in that. At least I don't. Number 6, lifestyles of the rich and famous. I hear a good Charlotte song for all those that listen to 90s alternative music. During the Roaring 20s, South Padre Island was popular with the rich and famous.
Yes.
The Port Isabel Yacht House provided a premier yachting destination during the time of Prohibition. It's said to have it's been said it was frequented by Amelia Earhart, Al Capone, President Eisenhower, and Charles Lindbergh. The yacht club is still open as a hotel and restaurant. I think you looked it up and said it was closed.
It was closed. One of them closed. Right here. Port Isabel South Padre Press. December 21st, 2018, the 92-year-old former Speakeasy Hotel and Restaurant was demolished beginning last Friday, December 14th in 2018. New property owners bought it. And this is what's sad sometimes. They bought it because it had been left in such a disarray, hadn't been taken care of. And when the new folks got it, I guess it wrecked it. It was more valuable as land than reinvesting into it.
All right. Well, you can go there and see where it used to be.
Yeah, used to be.
Not quite as fun. All right. So number 7, and we're going to probably talk about this in the top 10, I'm guessing, but turtles love this place. Are we talking about that?
We are.
Okay.
We are.
So there's a big sea turtle population here, and I'm going to skip over that because we are going to be talking about it. Number 8, it's a tropical island. Never been to South Padre Island? Need a point of reference? South Padre Island's latitude is 26.111 and is roughly the same as Nassau, Bahamas. The average daily temperature in November is approximately 78 degrees. Not like Montana.
No, not like Montana. Got my little jacket on.
All right, so number 9, we're almost done here. South Padre holds the title. Padre Island holds the title of the longest underdeveloped barrier island seashore in the world.
Okay, and now that you're saying that, I can totally see that. I get that.
I undeveloped is what I meant to say. I think
you said undeveloped.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, I questioned what I said there. But longest undeveloped barrier island seashore in the world.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yep.
And then last but not least, the surf is up globally. Texas may not be known for its surf, but it does exist, and there is a subtle behind-the-scenes surf culture in South Padre Island, lurking and waiting for the swells to arrive.
Ooh, dun dun dun.
I did my little Barry White.
You
Ready
did.
to arrive.
Ready to arrive.
Hello, baby.
Hello. I can do low this morning because it's morning still.
All right, my job's done.
Okay,
you
your
ladies take it
job's
over.
done. All right, so we're gonna dig into all of the fun things to do in South Padre Island, Texas, and the first one is shopping. And I totally agree, Carrie. There were so many great places to shop between the souvenir shops and the little boutique shops, the kite shops. So what are some of your favorite places there in South Padre?
Yeah, like you said, there is a lot of shopping there. So if you go down Padre Boulevard, kind of like the main drag, you'll find a little bit of everything. So one of my favorite places to go actually is the candy stores.
Yes.
And not just because of the candy. I actually love the fact that in these places, to get kids in and the adults too, they are decorated so cool. Like life-sized things with inside, colorful candy trees and all these different things that just are kind of magical and just, take you back to you being a little kid again. So candy stores are fun. There's a couple of great boutiques for finding some of your island wear, both men and women. If you are into consignment shops or thrift stores, they have a number of those there too. I know a lot of people on the island actually, since if they live on the island, like in the summertime, thrift stores are great for them because they pick up a lot of decor and different things that they don't have to go into a regular shop and spend a lot of money on just a seasonal place. So that's a great thing to do. There's great coffee shops. One of my favorite, there's a Karma that's a bookstore coffee shop. So you can head in there. There's all kinds of things. If you've forgotten any of your beach gear, they're on every other corner.
Yeah, those massive like souvenir shops. And I love like souvenir. But you're right.
Your swimsuit, your kite, your, sand toys, everything is, there's probably a shop in every block. So, if you like to shop and looking for some additional things for your trip, you will not be at a loss.
Absolutely. Yes. We spent a whole day. We had friends that came down, like Randy was saying, we were there for about a month. We had friends that came down and spent a week with us right after Christmas through New Year's. And we spent a day shopping, just going up and down the main drag and going into the different souvenir shops. I was specifically looking for a specific kind of flip-flops, which I found there, and got a cute shirt at a little boutique and had a lot of fun. And then there's also a farmer's market.
Yeah, I was going to say the farmer's market was really cool.
Yeah.
On Sundays, I think
it was every Sunday.
Sunday morning.
Yeah, every Sunday morning and had just like fruits and vegetables and plants. And I'm a sucker for soap. I don't know why, like handmade soaps. I'm like, I'll pay $20 for a bar of soap. And I do. They had like it was it was made from alpaca. I don't know. I don't know. It was good though. It was good.
And that was just a little bit north of this
like I want to say
South
maybe
Padre.
their civic center, something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. But it's a beach town, so you're going to see all the beach shop. You've got a Joel's beach shop, you got the Wave, you got Auction gift shop, you got Ocean Motion. I'm looking at all these.
I was like, wow, babe, I'm impressed you remember these.
No,
I was like,
heck
shoot,
no.
dang.
I can't even remember the
you
day
just
before.
got all kinds of hotness to me.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of different beach shops, with the beach clothes. You know what we're talking about. We don't need to explain it. I mean, it's got the whatever you want in there. You can buy kites. You can buy, swimwear, chairs,
flip flop. Yeah, you name it. It's
they're fun to go into.
They are.
They get you in the mood. They get you in the spirit.
They
right?
really do. They really do. And you can't go to one of these locations, not go to one of these stores and get like your South Padre Island pair of shorts or t-shirt. I mean, like it's a prerequisite. You have to do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
All right.
Moving on to number 9.
Number 9 is the Port Isabel Lighthouse, which actually isn't on South Padre. You just go right across the bridge over onto Port Isabel, which is a great place to visit in and of itself because it's a cute little town too. But tell us about the little lighthouse that sits there because it's kind of unique.
Yeah, definitely. The lighthouse area, to get to it, like you said, since South Padre Island is a barrier island, you need to get back to the mainland. So you'll drive over, I think it's about a 2.4 mile Queen Isabella Causeway. to get back over to Port Isabel. And it's such a neat, actually, the bridge itself is kind of cool because the views are incredible.
Yes.
Going over the bridge, and you'll even notice that there's little signs that tell you to watch out for pelicans on the bridge.
See, yeah, because when it gets blowy, the pelicans, because they're so big and very slow, have a hard time flying. So you have to look out for the pelicans.
So once you get across, like you said, the area of Port Isabel is really cute. There's like a kind of like a square area that's around the lighthouse. So you'll find some little shops and restaurants there. On the bay side, there's a restaurant there where you can also do a pirate ship boat ride.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to do that. But the lighthouse is really cool. It was built in 1852, and it was the country's 330th lighthouse.
That's neat.
Yeah. So a little fun fact on that one there. Like I said, it sits kind of on a square of its own, and it's a beautiful solid white lighthouse, 75 stairs to the top. And when you get up there, the views over the bay, out to the island, and down, just over the little town itself are absolutely gorgeous. So it's a fun stop, definitely educational. They have a museum right next door that tells the history and everything of the area and the building and of the lighthouse and everything. So it's well worth a stop, especially if you have kiddos. You can have a little homeschooling session and do some learning about some history in Texas.
Yeah.
So
cool.
the lighthouse is open from 9 to 6 p.m. daily. Summer hours are a little bit extended. It opens up at 10 a.m. and goes to 9 p.m. And we're doing this podcast in, what are we, September of 2024.
Yep.
Ticket prices are $5 for adults and $3 for children.
Oh,
so
yeah.
very, very cheap. They do have a VIP tour, it looks like, that takes you up to is it Fresno Lens? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Fresno.
Okay.
It is Fresno. Okay. So they've got the third order Fresno lens, but you're asked not to touch it. But they do have a VIP tour that takes you up there, and you can actually get close to the lens. But that sounds pretty cool. We didn't do that when we were there.
We did not.
I don't know if we knew about it. I mean, I guess you can see it.
I guess we saw it. I don't know why we didn't do it.
Yeah.
I really don't. And we really didn't spend a whole lot of time in Port Isabel, which is a shame because it is such a cute little town. We hit a couple of the small, like, hole-in-the-wall restaurants there.
Which were really good.
And were really good.
We
and
ate a Mexican restaurant that was really good. Tiny Mexican restaurant.
Oh, tiny one. Yeah. And
it
that
looked
was
like somebody's just kitchen. I mean,
it did. With, like,
Yes.
you walked in and none of the tables and chairs matched anything.
Right. But we should probably put that out there that Port Isabel is where you're going to go get your groceries if you're there for an extended time.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's even a food market on South Padre.
There was, but it was a very small one.
Small selection.
Yeah.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that, but yeah, all your major, like, box stores, and actually I'm not sure if there are box stores there, but some of your bigger food markets certainly are there.
Yeah, well, HEB.
Yeah, HEB, there's a Walmart.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah.
the Walmart. We went there several
we
times.
did the Walmart, HEB. Okay, for anybody who has not been to Texas, or you have been to Texas and have missed out on HEB, you gotta go to HEB. It is like Texas's local grocery store, and I madly fell in love with the HEB brand. And yeah, I'm totally giving them a plug because I literally called them or sent them an email because their natural peanut butter was so good and some of their dog food was so great. And I was like, do you happen to ship outside? And their coffee, they have these flavored coffees. Oh, they were amazing. Same thing. I was like, and they're like, no, we can't ship outside of Texas. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I never figured out the fascination you had with HEB. I mean,
because it was just like their brand of coffee was so good, and their little K-cups, and they had the different flavors. They had like San Antonio
you know they
blend.
don't make that stuff. That's just
I
private
know.
labeled on
I
top of
know,
somebody
but-
else's brand.
Randy, it just makes me feel good, okay?
All right. Anyway, I don't know that there was anything special about HEB, but there is an HEB there.
There is.
But more importantly, every RVer, what do they need? They need their Walmart, and it's over there
Yes,
too.
it's over there.
Make sure you get to Walmart when you need it. So moving on to number 8.
Yes, horseback riding on the beach. And we did not get to do this there, but we've horseback rode on other beaches, which is just an incredible experience. I just think it's so cool to be next to the ocean on a horse. I think that's amazing. Now, have you done that there? Did you get to experience that yourself?
I didn't do it, but when we went up to the north end of South Padre Island is definitely a more natural area.
Yeah.
It's very undeveloped, calmer, very relaxing area just to kind of go hang out. And so when we were up there, there is off on the left-hand side, a place called the Island Adventure Park. And there you can rent and do all kinds of things, but you can also book horseback riding tours. And so when my folks and I were up on the beach and we were enjoying, reading a book, relaxing on the north end, and it was kind of a not great day, a little misty and kind of just not perfect, so a little overcast. And I'm watching down the beach and I can see literally kind of coming out of the mist this group of horses with riders.
Oh, cool.
And it was like the most magical thing I think that I've seen. I mean, it just actually I grabbed some really awesome pictures and everything of just, these silhouettes coming down the beach on their horses, walking in the surf. And it was absolutely gorgeous. And it wasn't even a beautiful day. I can't imagine what it would be like, on a stunningly gorgeous day.
Yeah.
There's something so cool about riding a horse on the beach. I mean, it's just
know.
something amazing about it. And,
It's just
why is that? I don't know.
I think it's so raw, because the ocean is raw, the beach is raw, and now you're back to like the original mode of transportation for people for thousands of years. And I think you get to experience just kind of that rawness. I don't know.
Maybe so. I'm on South Padre Island Adventures website here, and we're not plugging them. They're not paying for this. This is just one we randomly pulled up. There's probably others, but do your research. They do have just to give you an idea on prices. Again, we're talking about September 2024. They have a morning special horseback ride for $129. I don't feel like that's bad. That's an hour and a half ride on the beach in the morning. I don't feel like that's terrible.
No,
I really don't. Now, one thing I did find very interesting is you got to be at least 6 years old, but you have to weigh. They allow up to 300 pounds.
Oh!
I just got kicked off of a glacier ride because I gained a little weight. They called me a fatty and said you can't ride.
They did not call you a fatty. You called yourself a fatty.
Apparently, they had a 225-pound max, and I might be about 240 or somewhere around there, especially the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I know.
Being here in Glacier.
A lot of huckleberry everything.
Oh my gosh. Huckleberry ice cream, pie,
huckleberry pie, huckleberry
fudge.
chocolate, fudge.
And when you're here, you got to have it.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Yeah.
So it's like we went on a 16-mile hike. We come back and have like 4 huckleberry pies, the 3 guys. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. But anyway, getting back to South Padre Island Adventures, they've got a private. So they've got the morning horse ride, which is with a big group.
Yeah.
And then they've got a private morning ride. It's $179. You pay $50 more, but that's going to be just for your family. It looks like.
Oh, that's cool.
And then they've got a family favorite horseback ride, and I'm not going to read all the differences between for $99. And then they got the spectacular sunset ride for $149.
Oh, sunset on the beach with a horse? Come on.
Yeah, I
would hire a photographer just to run next to me. Like my hair is blowing, the horse's mane is blowing, the sun is setting. I'm like, get my picture.
How about this one? This is the last one. So a moonlight horseback ride for $169.
I would totally do it. Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I don't ride a lot of horses, but that seems inexpensive to me.
It does. It does.
Sounds like a blast to me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, well, I think we've hit the horseback ride. You want to move on to numbers?
Yes, but one thing I want to touch on that, Carrie was talking about, this does happen on the northern end of the island, and South Padre is very unique. Like South Padre is where all the development is. So you're going to see the high-rise condos, the surf stores, the restaurants, the bars, all of that. As you start heading north, that becomes less and less till it just disappears and it's just sand dunes. And the road literally eventually just ends. So, you're doing the horseback riding up in that part. So it's not like you're riding on the beach in front of a high-rise condo. So just want to put that out there.
The other thing that's really cool about the north end too is if you are like to boondock, you can actually look up all the rules for everything, but you can actually pull off the road there and boondock right on the side of the road.
Oh yeah, that's
right. I saw a lot of campers along that area. The only thing you do have to be careful of is those beautiful winds that come off the ocean. And because there's no development there and the dunes are all there, a lot of times the roads can get kind of covered with sand.
Yes.
Right.
They actually come through with snow plows at certain points of the year when it's really, really windy to clean that off. But at the other times of year, it's a great boondocking area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about South Padre, but I know North Padre, which is Port Aransas area, it's a 3-day permit that you have to pay, and it's only like $20, so it's inexpensive. I definitely would not take my RV, not in South Padre, because remember that was really sketchy getting out.
Well, sketchy in that it's like,
yeah, you've got to air down your tires and to get out there, but. In North Padre on Port Aransas, it was very
hard,
compacted.
compact sand,
and there was many RVs out there actually on
the water,
not on the water,
near the water, yeah,
on the sand. But
on South, you can just boondock along the sides of the roads, so that you're not even out on the beach.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking out on the sand is what I was thinking. So if you've got a tent thing on top of a Jeep or something like that, you definitely could go out there and boondock right out on the ocean or
on the ocean, Randy. On the ocean, just float.
All right, moving on quickly to number 7.
All right.
How about some bird watching?
Bird watching. Okay, so we didn't get to do this on South Padre, but we did it essentially North Padre on Port Aransas. And it was surprisingly something that we enjoyed way more than we anticipated. And I did not even realize that they had a birding center there on South Padre, which is a South Padre Island birding nature center and alligator sanctuary. So tell us some about this, because again, we really enjoyed the one on Port Aransas.
Yeah. And just like in that area too, I mean, birding is a big deal. There's a lot of people who love to go out and do birding, looking for all the different species and everything. And this place is absolutely gorgeous that they've put together. There's a large wooden boardwalk that goes through marshlands and the right along the bay. So not oceanside, but the bay side. There's I think like a 5-story tower where you can look out and get some great views from there. But you'll see, egrets, pelicans, herons throughout the year. There can be over 350 different species of birds that may migratorily pass through the area. So it's a fun place just to kind of hang out and see all these different birds. But then, like you mentioned, it's also the sanctuary for alligators, and so they actually take in alligators there that may have been like somebody's pet or it was found somewhere. They will take them in, do some rehabilitation, a little bit of having just an area for them to be safe, and then I know they do ship them eventually out to another area. But so you can see, the alligators there. They had some tortoises when I was there that you can feed, lettuce leaves to and stuff too. So there's a variety of things to catch your interest. And again, it's great for, if you are a birder or for families that, really want to show their kids, a different aspects maybe from where they live.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, surprisingly, I'm not into birds, but we did the one on Port Aransas. They had a birding center and really enjoyed it, because what was incredible is probably the same thing as South Padre is you're up on the boardwalk and just kind of looking out over this massive swath of land that's just covered in birds, all different kinds of birds. And then like a group of them would like set to flight and, the amazing pictures that we got. And some were cleaning themselves and doing this fun thing. And
it was kind of, I don't want to say it was a hidden gem, but it was kind of one of those things I had low expectations. And I'm going to say that they're probably both pretty similar because North Padre Island, which is Port Aransas, is only about 100 miles north of South Padre. So they're real close. They're on the same barrier island, actually. So I'm assuming they're very, very similar. So I'm only basing that off of Port Aransas. But it was one of those things I had low expectations. Or actually not low, no expectation.
Right.
And I walked away like, that was really cool. I'm glad I did that.
So much so that we did it twice.
Yep. Yeah. And so... So yeah, don't if you're not into birds, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you're into birds, definitely go visit this. But if you're not into birds, you might be surprised. Grab your camera, go out there, and watch how they interact. And it's just, as Caly said, it's really cool when you watch some of them just take off and just kind of the way they fly together, and it was just really interesting. But as Carrie alluded to, there's a lot of other things other than birds there. They say they've got fish, turtles, crabs, pollinator, dragonflies, mammals, and alligators. So it's kind of a little mini open zoo.
It is. So cool. I like it. RVing can bring with it so many great off-grid adventures. Imagine camping in some of the most beautiful parts of our country, surrounded by peace, quiet, and solitude. How can you ensure your trip won't be cut short by lack of battery power when you need it most? Why not replace your old lead-acid batteries for lithium batteries from BattleBorn? BattleBorn batteries are safe, reliable, long-lasting, and lightweight. They are designed to be simple drop-in replacements for your old, outdated lead-acid batteries, lasting up to 10 times longer, charging up to 5 times faster, and giving you 2 to 3 times more power. BattleBorn offers a full product line for all sizes of adventures, making sure you get power when you need it. They offer power solutions for motorized and towable RVs, vans, overlanding, marine, off-grid, and more. Plus, they have a U.S.-based customer service and technical support team, plus a 10-year warranty on their products. So get out to BattleBornBatteries.com today to start shopping for your off-grid power solution with America's trusted off-grid battery brand.
All right, we're moving on to number 6. We're going to take a dolphin ride.
Yes, not on a dolphin,
okay.
But we're going to take a ride.
I was trying to wonder how that worked.
I would love, part of me would love to ride a dolphin, but then I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think I'm just going to let the dolphin do its little dolphin thing. But so you can take a ride to see dolphins, kind of like a dolphin tour, right?
There you go. Yep. And actually, I think it's probably one of the most popular things that people do on the island. I think there are maybe 3 different companies that offer tours this way. You go to the Sea Ranch Marina Center, which is down towards the south end of the island. And from that Marina Center, there's they have different stands and you can just kind of choose which one you want to go on. But they're a blast. Most of the time you get to actually see quite a few different dolphins. It's an open air boat. And so when you go out, if you go kind of mid-morning, later afternoon, tend to be the busier times for the dolphins to be out, but they go out into the bay. So you're not going out into the ocean, but it's the bay side. And they are really good at, they'll see them off in the distance. They'll direct the boat that direction, and they're great at pointing them out. And you get to see these fun little animals. They're just having a blast in the water. They're diving under the boat from one side to the other and, swimming right along with you, right up next to the boat. So it's really entertaining. I think they could last about an hour and a half to 2 hours usually. And the guides that are on them they're very knowledgeable, and they usually have some other buckets full of different sea creatures that are small that, they'll show and talk about a few more nature type things besides just the dolphins. I think there are also eco tours that you can go on. So yeah, it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah, so I'm on the original Dolphin Watch, and again, I'm just pulling these randomly off the internet. And they do have a dolphin watch. They have a dolphin watch and eco tour, and then they also have a sunset dolphin watch. And so I'm trying to get a price here. I haven't found one, but one thing that's cool in the area is we stayed at the KOA there, and you could actually walk out to the bay there and see dolphins there in the bay,
which was neat. And sometimes they got pretty darn close to. Because at the KOA, and we're going to talk about this a little later, there's like a little peninsula that kind of sticks out at the KOA. And you can go out on that peninsula and see the dolphins in that area. But, I think regardless how many times I have seen a dolphin in the wild in my life, I still get so excited to see a dolphin in the wild. I just think it's the coolest thing. We were in Key West a couple years and did a boat tour, and they took us out to this area called the Playground. And it was probably 40, 50 dolphins just everywhere. It was incredible. And they call it the Playground because there's so many dolphins and they're just swimming and playing and jumping. And I was like, this is amazing.
So it looks like with this particular company, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You just cut off my excitement right there, Randy.
It looks like the dolphin cruises are about $19 for an adult. So
that's not bad at all.
I feel like that's pretty inexpensive.
That's really
too.
reasonable. I kind of had in my head like $50-$60, but no, that's really reasonable.
Yeah, no, the Dolphin Watch and Eco Tour is $19, and the Dolphin Watch by itself is $19. And then let's see let me look at the sunset. I might as well look at that. So that is okay. That's a little bit more expensive,
rightly so.
But it's $21.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So about $2 more, but so
totally
very
worth
inexpensive. So
totally worth it. All right, moving on to number 5. This is super cool for all you out there fascinated with space, because SpaceX, the place that Elon Musk owns that sends all the fun stuff into the skies, you can see it from South Padre. I almost said Port Aransas. I'm like, nope, wrong place. You can see it from South Padre. Actually, we could see it almost from the KOA, but to get there, it's about a 45-minute drive. And then you can't necessarily tour the facility, Carrie, but you can kind of drive through it, right?
Right. Yeah. And like you said, it's about a 45-minute drive to Brownsville, Texas. But if you are a person who loves space travel and everything, it's really cool because like you said, they don't give tours, but you literally, because of the space of where it's at, you drive right through the center of it. Yeah. And so off on your left, there's rockets being built that you can see. And then if you drive a little farther down towards Boca Chica Beach, that's where the launch pad is at. So if you happen to be there as they're getting ready for a launch, you can see them setting up, the rocket there to get ready for a launch. So it's really, it's a compound kind of area. Obviously, you can't just freely walk through it, but you can drive through it and, get a neat view of everything going on there. And then, come back to South Padre. And if you happen to be there for a launch time, the south end of the island is a great place to sit there. I mean, the beaches actually get quite packed for time, to have lunch, and you can sit there and really enjoy seeing, a once in a lifetime experience for a lot of people. So it's really cool. And again, if you're not into it, it might really spark your interest in, trying to learn a little bit more about space travel.
Yeah, it's really neat. And people are probably like, why does it take so long to get there? So again, if this is doing it like I'm looking at the map. So here's South Padre and here's Brownsville, but there's no direct route because there's a bay here. So you have to go back inland all the way up, kind of cross a bridge around the bay and back to the other side. So that's why it takes 45 minutes to get there, but that's why you can still see it from there at the edge of South Padre. Yep, which was super cool.
Yep, it is.
All right, moving on to number 4. So we've watched a space launch. This is really cool. We've worked up an appetite. Let's head to a beach bar. And there are several beach bars. Kind of like the big famous one there is Clayton's Beach Bar and Grill. And they've kind of expanded onto it over the years. And don't they kind of claim something as well?
They do. They claim they are the biggest beach bar in Texas.
Oh yeah, yeehaw.
Yeah, and truthfully, I might agree with them. It's a fun spot to go hang out with vacationers, the locals, everybody. There's a lot of people who really enjoy that space, and they have added on, they have their regular restaurant and outdoor patio area, but then they also have now built a pier out that extends out over the ocean, and it's a great viewing spot so that you can, kind of see everything that's going on in the area. So there's lots of places to hang out, have fun, have a good drink. They have great music that's playing. So yeah, it's one of the beach bars. It's a well-known one, of course, for our kiddos who go down for spring break.
Oh, yeah.
Or honestly, if you're retired and you're RV camping down there, it's a fun spot just to hang out and, truthfully, people watch.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we go to Clayton's? I feel like
we did.
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought
did.
we kind of did. Because I know we hit because it's a barrier island. You've got water on both sides. Well, it's an island, Caly. Duh! So you're gonna have water on all sides. But so we hit some of the bars like on the bay side, and I just don't remember going to that side. But I guess we did. 'Cause you're saying we did.
Yeah, well, we definitely did. And I think we went to. There's one called Longboard Bar and Grill. I think we went to that one.
I do remember that one.
There's Tequila Sunset Bar and Grill, Laguna Bob, Louis' Backyard. I think we did that one too.
Those were all kind of clumped in together on the bay side. So
for the most part, yeah.
And I think that's why we hung out a little bit more on the bay side, because there is that grouping of like bars and restaurants that you can just kind of walk to one another. And and heads up, folks, if you are there and you are a responsible drinker, as everybody should be, Ubers are kind of non-existent after a certain time frame. They do have a little shuttle bus system that runs around, but everything's pretty walkable. Randy and I walked back from the bar one night because we had too many drinks. And we had got an Uber there, but the Uber said, like, this is it.
Yeah, they
this is
said
my
like
last trip.
Right, they said like after 10 o'clock because they come from Port Isabel, and so it's kind of a long drive. Not a long drive, but a little bit of a drive over to Port or South Padre. So, but yeah, that's true. He said that like after 10 o'clock, there's no
he's
Uber.
like, you're not going to find one. We're like, it's close enough. So I think it was about a mile and a half back to the RV.
Back to the KOA park.
Back to the KOA. And we found a food truck along the way, which was amazing, and got some great burritos, I think we got from the food truck.
Yep.
So,
Perfect.
yeah, you got to responsibly drink.
Let's talk about turtles for number 3.
Let's do it. And we did do this. And this is Sea Turtle Inc. And this is so cool. It is a sea turtle like rehabilitation center and hospital, and it is like one of the most well-known, most well-respected like in the world. Like turtles get shipped here from all over the place to come here. So tell us about your experience when you went to Sea Turtle Inc.
Yeah, I love Sea Turtle Inc. Since I've been going down to South Padre over the years, I've actually seen its growth, because when it first started off compared to what it is now, it was actually in a completely different building, closer to the roadside and much, much smaller. So it's been a neat progression to see it grow so that it can take care of more sea turtles. It is actually the largest sea turtle hospital in the world.
Oh, wow.
So it's a great place that helps rehabilitate. They have kind of like a museum area so that you can learn more about the turtles. They have some presentations that they put on, and then they have a large area where they have these huge tanks and sea turtles that have lost a flipper, or their shell has been badly damaged or something. They put them in the hospital, they help them, work with them there, and then some of these end up in the tanks while they're rehabilitating. And so there's even one in there that has a like a wooden paddle for its flipper that it lost.
Yes,
So
I saw
it's
that.
really, it's so it's a really neat area, very educational. They do a lot of research, and in that area, even though we are in the lower part of Texas, South Padre can get really cold weather sometimes. And so they have turtles can get what they call, I think it's called winter stunned,
Yes.
or freeze stunned. And so, there can be a lot of turtles on the beach sometimes that literally have been stunned and they cannot get back into the water and go. And so tons of volunteers in the area. Has a huge volunteer backing. The locals come out and they collect those sea turtles and they take them to the hospital and they, find areas to warm them back up and get them back going. So it's a really cool spot to visit, learn, and, even participate as a volunteer in taking care of sea turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that actually happened while we were there. There was a little bit of a cold snap that came through. That was the winter that Texas had all the blackouts and brownouts with power outages because the weather had gotten so brisk and cold. So yeah, there was a lot more sea turtles there at the hospital because a lot of them had experienced kind of that shock.
Well, they told them that along the coast, all the way up to like New York, and I didn't know there were sea turtles in New York and New Jersey, but apparently there are. And
They
ship them
migrate.
down they'll ship them down to South Padre, which is just that just goes to show how respected this organization is across the country. So if they're shipping them from New York and New Jersey down to southern Texas, but just really, really cool story, and it was founded by the Turtle Lady of South Padre in 1977. Kind of a cool little story on their website. I'm not going to recite it now because we to respect time here, but very, very kind of cool story how she was a pilot, and then she basically she lived there on South Padre and started this in 1977. So
very cool. Very cool.
Moving on to number 2.
Number 2 is Isla Blanca Park or Isla Blanca Park, however you want to say it.
And this sits right next
Isla.
to the KOA, or kind of real close to the KOA, because we walked over to it many times.
We did multiple times, and they have RV sites, but they have more than just RV sites. You can access the beach there. They have walking trails, places for fishing, large pavilions, food stands near the beach in season. So yeah, tell us more about the park. We went through it and got to experience some of it off season. What's it like in season?
Yeah, it's a very large park on the end of the island. I think it's 600 plus spaces there. So it is a large one. So depending on, your comfort level of how many people you love to be around,
right?
It might be a little large for you, but at the same time, I know that there's lots of retahirees, that go down, have permanent places in the wintertime. And RV there, and then and permanent, I mean, seasonally that they go down. But the location is what makes it so great, is being on that south end of the island. You have access to the incredible beaches. They've created kind of like a boardwalk area now along the beaches too, which is a really nice addition, especially for anybody that's like in a wheelchair or anything like that. They get a little bit more access out to that area. There's jetties there for wonderful fishing. You'll see people on the jetties all the time doing great fishing. There's different covered pavilions, some hiking trails, and then even right next door to it, there's a beach water park that if for some reason the ocean isn't, trigger, you want to go to a water park, and I guess spend about $50, I think, but it's a really cool looking water park that's next door to that too. So it's a great place to spend, a day. Enjoy the beaches, go do some fishing, and the only part of that is there is an admission fee to actually get onto that part of the island. I believe this last year it was $12, but it's worth the cost, to be able to be in that location. There's an amphitheater down there that they'll do some concerts at occasionally, and that's a great viewing point again for SpaceX.
Oh yeah.
So, like you said, though, for you guys, having been at the KOA, it's you have nice access there too.
Yes.
So you can just walk across, and it's enjoy the whole area.
Yeah, and we did. We had bikes with us. We biked through there. We walked our dogs through there because it is so big. And with it being an RV park, also you can go up and down all of those lanes and get quite a few miles in walking through there. And I think if I remember correctly, we were able to walk in without paying anything. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was only if you're driving a car. I think we even brought a bike through there, and they didn't charge us. So, And I'm looking at their site here and their rates. You know, this is this a city park or a state park? Okay, it's a state park, so it's fairly cheap, and that's why it's very, very hugely popular. I mean, I'm looking at a standard site here. It's $40 a night. So I mean,
that's not bad.
Again, you can't find many places that charge $40 a night.
No,
for
not
camping.
anymore.
Prior to 2020, you could, but not anymore. And so very, very, very cheap. And then they've got a lot of things that, as Carrie alluded to, they've got 2 pavilions. They got food trucks. They got beach rental services, walking trails, jetty for surf fishing, bait stands, 600 full hookup sites, as we talked about. Cabanas, tent rentals, boat ramp, showers, of course, and all that. World-class water park, as she already said. And then you could do offshore fishing straight out of there, full-service marina available. So they got quite a bit there to do, and it's really pretty cool. And I would say if you're not going to stay at KOA, this is a really good place to stay.
It is.
So, I mean, it really is. We had mentioned that if we ever came back, maybe we would try that out. And we'll talk about this under the campground section, but I think now I'd be leaning more towards that about something that happened to the KOA, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
We will.
So we ready for number 1.
We are, and you can't even hit the button.
I can't even reach the button for the special. So the number 1 thing to do in South Padre Island is enjoy the beaches. Of course, that's why you go to South Padre, enjoying the beaches.
I mean, they have 34 miles of beaches. Like beaches, lots of
beaches.
And again, what I love about it is you can stay south on South Padre and have more commercialized beaches. You can
with
access
the bars
the
and grills, all
bars
that
and restaurants, and walk up to a bar and grab a drink, head back out to the beach. You've got the Isla Blanca or Isla Blanca, however you want to pronounce it, park that you could access the beach from. Or if you want something more kind of private and quiet, head up north on the island, and you're going to get away from all of that.
You'll see a row of cars and people just out with their tent, sitting out, taking the whole family to the beach. So tell us about your experience with the beaches there, Carrie.
Yeah, I've had a great time being able to explore, kind of both ends of the island, which is awesome. I mean, how often do you find 34 miles?
Right. Yes.
Right.
To be able to explore. So it's a great spot to just wander, obviously looking for shells, doing just a little chilling. Like you said, you'll see a lot of beach umbrellas and everything, with people just really enjoying their day. The one thing that's really cool is, again, because of those winds and stuff, you'll see those kite sailors that, out on the water. You'll see surfers, paddle boarders, just everybody doing a little bit of everything to love the water. But to me, the fun part, I like to walk for miles.
Yeah.
So, when I was down there, my mom had a little dog, and we would just go out on the beach and we would just walk for miles and miles, and you would see all kinds of bikes, and you will see in different areas, like you said, cars. There are cars that can drive on the beach in certain areas, so you do need to be aware of that. But it's just a wonderful place to relax and enjoy, fly a kite. Beach life. There's nothing better.
Yeah, one of the things that we really enjoyed is we've got 2 very hyper dogs, and they're not hyper. They're just
dogs.
They're boxers, and so at the time we had 2 boxers, and so we would drive up to the northern part, drive onto the beach, and you do need a 4x4 in this area. So Port Aransas, it's really compacted. You could drive it just a regular vehicle on there, but down here you're gonna need a 4x4. But we drove up a couple miles, pulled off, just let the dogs run,
and it was hysterical because Zoe, the boxer that we still have, Bella, we had to say goodbye to last year, sadly. But Zoe would go out into the water, and we're like, all right, time to go back. And she'd go out into the ocean and just sit. And she's like, I am not done. I am not coming back.
Right.
Oh, yeah, it was a hoot. And then one of the really cool things that we did there as well, when Carmen and Jay, our friends, came and visited us, the UFO beach. So if you go to the very north entrance of the beach on South Padre Island and then head up several miles.
Oh, it was like 8 or 10 miles.
Yeah.
It's I don't think they call it UFO beach.
They do. Here,
it's a nude beach.
It is. It says, while not officially clothing optional, UFO beach's distance from civilization, 7 to 8 miles from the nearest town, makes it a popular spot for sunbathers who prefer to bare all or almost all. And this is off of what website? news for sanantonio.com. But what is there? It's an old
pod shipping,
emergency pod off of a ship, and it looks like a UFO spaceship. And then people have spray painted it, and it literally says like nudist beach on the side of it because my friend took a picture of it.
Yeah, so we're not suggesting to go out there to lay out naked. If you want to do that, hey, we're not going to judge you. You can do what you do. You do you. But
we're saying really the little UFO thingy is neat to see.
Yeah, if we can dig up a picture somewhere, I'll try to put it on the screen for those YouTube viewers that are watching on YouTube. But it takes some really cool pictures. You got this odd looking UFO, and it's what is that, cylindrical?
I mean, it literally looks. It's like circle here and then has a bulbous top.
Yeah, it looks like a UFO.
Looks like a UFO,
but it's
a flotation pod.
I think it's an emergency escape like flotation thing for a huge cargo ship.
And it just like wound up on the beach and has stayed there ever since. And yeah,
that was worth going up there. And the day we were there, it was cold. It was in the winter. Nobody was laying out on the beach,
out.
So we didn't see naked people. But
no nakeds.
But that wouldn't scare me off. But
no comment.
All right, so let's. We're running a little bit behind on time here, so let's go ahead and jump in.
We just hit an hour.
I know, and that's when we got to cut off.
Okay.
But, so as far as getting around, I would argue if you're staying on South Padre, you could get around with a bike or walking.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit far. I mean, you're talking about 2 or 3 miles. Would you agree with that, Carrie? About 2 or 3 miles from the southern part to the northern part of the inhabited area. Let's talk about not the northern part where all the beaches are.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you're staying in the more developed area, pretty much everything would be pretty walkable or definitely on bike.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, bike would be that would be probably my preference going back is we had scooters when we were there and that was fine, of course, little 50 cc's, but we sold those. Now we have e-bikes, and the e-bikes would definitely work there. So
e-bikes would be perfect.
Yep. And then as far as campgrounds go, there's really only 2 or 3. There's 3 camping options on South Padre Island itself. The first one we just talked about Isla Blanca Park.
Isla Blanca.
Isla Blanca Park.
Isla Blanca, Isla.
And we said the rates are there pretty cheap. They've got 600 spots. It's huge. It's wide open. There's no trees. You're just in the elements.
Yep.
That's certainly a great option. And then we stayed at the KOA, which gives really good monthly rates, especially in the winter time.
Yes.
We were there from December probably 15th to January 15th, somewhere around there. And I don't think it was that bad. But one thing that we loved about the KOA, they had a wonderful restaurant.
On-site restaurant.
It was on the water, and it was on-site, and we heard that recently it burnt down.
It did.
And that they can't rebuild it because of the
They were
laws.
grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Yep. Which it was.
And it was a great place.
It was like the food, and they had these cinnamon rolls that were like Texas size, no exaggeration. These bad boys were like this big because 4 of us shared one. And they were to die for. And everybody told you about, did you go over to such and such place and get their cinnamon roll yet? And we're like, well, I feel like we have to now.
Yeah.
And they were incredible.
Well, they had really good Bloody Marys they had with all the stuff popping out of the top.
It was like all kinds of accoutrements.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you can't experience that because that burned down and it's no longer there. And so with that said, I think I would lean more towards staying at the park, honestly, if I could get in. So
I mean, you're going to get a couple more amenities at the KOA, like the KOA had a swimming pool and a hot tub, and we did enjoy the hot tub. And they had some live music that came in a couple of times. But you don't have the restaurant there anymore, and that was super handy. We hit that up quite a few times.
Yeah, and the other one on the island is called Andy Bowie County Park, and that didn't get real good reviews. I should say this part is brought to you by RV Life. They've got this whole RV park campground search tool that you can use to look up any campground in areas and look at the ratings.
I can see why it didn't get good reviews, and I think people might go in, if you go in with the correct expectations on that park. So it's slightly north, so it's a little bit more on the north side, and it is a state park, and it's more like a parking lot. So it's kind of like a parking lot, but you're going to be, boom, right there on the beach. So if you go in with that expectation of not a traditional what you have in your head RV park, then you might not be so surprised when you show up.
Yeah, so the best one...
a lot smaller.
Yeah, a lot smaller.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So some of the top ones are going to be, off of South Padre. The very top one, which got 9.7 stars, was the Diving Dolphins RV Park. That's in Rio Honda, Texas. It's 22 miles from South Padre. And then Sunset Palms RV and Mobile Home Park got 9.6. And so there are some parks that have more amenities and things like that, but you're going to have to probably get off the island if the KOA doesn't have what you need. But the KOA had pretty much everything.
It did.
And I would recommend staying on the island. That way you're not having to drive over that bridge. What did you say the bridge was, Carrie? 1.5 miles?
About 2.5.
Two and a half miles. Okay. So you and that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you just want to go to the beach, you can walk there from the KOA or from the Isla Blanca Park. So, but anyway, have we missed anything about South Padre here?
I don't know. Carrie, did we miss anything?
Not that I can think of.
Perfect. And this is from a seasoned regular, folks.
So hopefully we've presented enough evidence to show that go down there and support South Padre. It's definitely a great place. It's a lot of fun. We had a blast. The only thing we got tired of contending with was the wind, and we were in a year that it was unseasonably windy.
It was
we talked to a lot of the locals, said it was a little bit more than normal.
We had a couple days that it hit 60-mile-an-hour winds.
And unfortunately, you're just, that this is an outdoor location. You're on beaching, you're walking around. And when it's 60-mile-an-hour winds, you're stuck in your RV, because you're getting pelted by sand.
Oh, yeah. But they do have, on the island, they have a little movie theater. They had I think 2 or 3 screens, remember, because we went down Christmas Day. It's kind of our thing sometimes on Christmas Day. We'll go and see movies because we saw the new Wonder Woman. It was like Wonder Woman 1980, whatever movie that was.
Right.
Yeah, that one.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you, Carrie, so much for coming out and talking about South Padre Island.
Yes.
And you want to take us out, babe?
Yeah. Well, for folks that want to get more information about Carrie and what she has, again, amazing photographer, great work. You can visit her website at carriehanrahanphotography.com. Did I get that right?
You did.
Woohoo! All right. And she's got a lot of beautiful images out there. And you also you've been working on your blog as well because you do a good amount of traveling. Is that correct?
Yeah, I say the blog's never as much as I want it to be. It's always a little hard to keep up with. But actually I do a fair amount of travel. I just was out in Portland, Oregon. So there's always wonderful places to travel, and I am lucky enough to get to go to a lot of them.
Yeah, Carrie's a big part of the magazine and the podcast, and we just really appreciate you so much, Carrie. We really, really do. She's writing a lot of different things for us and then coming on these podcasts, and she's producing a lot of content for us, and we really, really appreciate it because we can't do it alone. We need people like Carrie to help support the magazine and all that, so we appreciate that and appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, so thank you, Carrie. Thank you as always.
Well, it's always a blast.
Awesome. And we want to thank all of you out there for joining us in here because we are, once again, live on video. It's very exciting. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the RV Destinations podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we are now on YouTube, so you get to see our happy, shiny, smiley faces out there on YouTube. So be sure to hit that button below and subscribe so you get notified when new content arrives. Be sure to get out to our website at rvdestinationsmagazine.com. And if you use the code podcast20, that's podcast20, you save 20% off any of our subscriptions. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay because we have a ton of great free information out on our website as well for RVers. So we just want to thank you all for joining us today. We really appreciate you.
Safe travels.
Safe travels, y'all.
I took your line.
You took my line. Bye.